Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amelia and today I wanted to talk about some books that made me cry. Some of these will be for personal reasons, come to do with my development, my character development, if you will, and some will be just because they're really emotional books. And because I don't want to bore you all with a really long intro, let's get into the video. So the first book I want to talk about is the Welcome to Night Vale novel, and the reason that this made me cry is because I stayed up till midnight. First of all, don't stay up till midnight. That puts you in an emotionally vulnerable state. And I stayed up till midnight reading this, and I just got to this chapter where it deals with like these themes of identity and relationships and family, and there was just, it was so emotional. I just couldn't, like, I had just tears streaming down my face as I read it, and it was honestly, I think, a change, like a turning point in my life where I just read it and I was like, oh, that's some good shit. So yes, I definitely recommend this, especially if you like the Welcome to Night Vale podcast. That podcast has also made me cry, especially like the semi-recent episode, UFO sightings. Oh my goodness, like, it is wonderful. Welcome to Night Vale is probably one of my all-time favourite podcasts, novels, universes, whatever. So like, definitely recommend that. The next book on my list is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire-Sáenz, and this is so emotional. It's a YA contemporary about two boys who are friends and they make friends over the summer, and it's good. It's good stuff. And the reason why I love this so much was I just got these feelings. It's very uplifting. It's very emotional and it's very uplifting. So if you want a good cry but you want to like smile at the end of it, this is the book for you. I definitely recommend it. It's so sweet. It's so like poignant too. Like a lot of the experiences, these really serious things, and the writing is just absolutely gorgeous. Plus, look at all these awards. Can't possibly be a bad book, can it? The next book on my list is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. This is the story of a man who finds out that his best friend and his wife have died while he is in prison, and he goes home and he has no idea what to do with himself, and then he's recruited by a mysterious guy. This, oh my goodness, there were some things, like when I was reading through it, where I got towards the end, I just had to take a moment. It's very moving. I think moving was the word that I used when I described this the first two times I made this video, but it's very moving and like intense. It changes you on a base level. It's just really good, and I feel like if you get towards the end, you're definitely going to get hit with the emotions, especially if you read it quite quickly, because you've gotten to develop like a bond with these characters and you're attached to them, and you get to the end and it's like you feel this catharsis. It's very cathartic, like definitely very cathartic, and you just have, it's just so like, I'm never going to be over this book. So yes, I definitely recommend to you American Gods. With a warning, there are a number of triggering aspects towards the story that I will list over here. I'll just put them up, and if those seem like they might be bad to you, like, well, not obviously bad, but like if those seem like they might upset you, please don't read it. This is written in such a way that a lot of the scenes are very intense, and it can be extremely triggering. This might be a weird book to put on a list of books that made me cry, considering that this is a comedy, but this is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. If you haven't heard of it before, then you haven't been watching my channel. It is my all-time favourite book, I think, and yeah, it's literally one of my favourite. Look how many tabs there are! I cried the first time I read it because there was a passage describing one of the characters. I just related to it at such a deep level that there was like really nothing that could, there was nothing that I could just do after that. I knew I was gonna love it. It ensured its place in my heart as my favourite book of all time, and there it stays to this day. It's such a good book. It's so good that I am reviewing it on the first episode of my podcast. My podcast is called Gay Rights. It's me and my friends. We are all gay. We talk about writing and reading and stuff, and it's great, and I definitely recommend it. I will put a link down to the podcast in the description. And anyway, brief self-promo over, let's move on. The next book on my list is really only for Tolkien fans. If you're not a Tolkien fan, I definitely don't recommend reading The Silmarillion because it is very, very heavy and very complicated, and you're probably not going to be able to keep up with it, and it probably also won't mean anything to you. But The Silmarillion is essentially an in-universe history book for The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. And it is epic. I think that's the word, like in the very traditional sense of the word epic. It's an epic history, I think, is how it's classified. And it's a history of the world. It's the mythology, it's the deities, the ancient kings and queens, and actually I don't think there are any queens. That sucks. Anyway, it's the ancient rulers of this world and the battles and the things that shaped it. And it is absolutely emotional. It's emotional. Like, you go through such a long and arduous journey with all of the characters that when you get to the final line, I was just crying. I read the final line. I'd been completely stoic throughout the entirety of the book. I got to the final line, tears. I couldn't control it. Like, it just meant so much to me to like have gone on this journey, especially since I had to attempt to read this 3 times. That's how difficult this book is. Having to read it 3 times, like, I was thinking about my journey, I was thinking about the characters' journeys, like everything that they went through to read this. It was... I definitely, like, if you're into Tolkien and you're in need of a good cry and also want to be a super duper nerd and come join me in the nerd club, read The Silmarillion. Also, look how heavy that is. I've annotated all over it. Yeah. So the final book that I want to talk about is one that I don't have a physical copy for, because when I went to go and buy a physical copy I realised that none of the pretty covers were like available, so that's great. And that is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I have complicated feelings about Strange the Dreamer. I feel really bad about having complicated feelings about Strange the Dreamer because I know that a lot of people, it's their favourite book and they really, really love Strange the Dreamer. For me, I had issues, but there is one thing that I cannot deny about Strange the Dreamer, and that is that from chapter 10 until the end of the book, I was in tears. I was crying, like, the entire time I was reading it. It was so emotional and so intense, and just hit me right in the heart, and I just couldn't, like, it touched me in such a way that I just wasn't expecting, because usually, like, when characters have, like, I want to talk about, I'm going to bring up Six of Crows. Characters have similarly traumatic backstories in Six of Crows, although not to the same degree. Definitely, I don't want to compare trauma, because, like, we all know that that's terrible and a bad idea, but the complexities, the moral complexities in Strange the Dreamer are a lot deeper than in Six of Crows. But in this, I didn't cry. I didn't even cry reading Crooked Kingdom, which is like, I know everyone does, but I didn't. Like, that's how much of a not emotional reader I am. So for me to be reading the entire time I read a book, that's really, really big for me. So reading Strange the Dreamer, like, just these characters and everything they were going through, and like, oh my goodness, I cried so much. I was like dehydrated because I cried so much. And yeah, obviously that one also has a very long list of triggers. I will put that up in the corner over there. But yes, definitely recommend Strange the Dreamer if you're in need of a good cry. Summary, I need to do that. It is about a guy called Laszlo Strange who has an obsession with the lost city of Weep. And throughout the story he goes, and I don't want to spoil too much, but like, there are some developments in the Lost City department, and they're like the relationships, the complexities. I'm just repeating myself. Okay, let's move on. So that is it for the books that have made me cry. At some point I want to do a sequel to this once I've read a few more books, because I know for a fact that I'm probably going to be going in and finding more books that make me cry. I also want to do more book recommendation videos. If you have any ideas, please let me know down below. Oh, and book tags. Definitely want to do more book tags. But after that, I definitely, like, I have plans to mix up some of my occult and my bookish passions into a video, so I'm really excited to film that. And yeah, that is it for books that have made me cry. If you have some books that have made you cry, please let me know down in the comments. I am always in the need for an emotional read. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!